Unfortunately, Gillie the Kid's son was unalived recently, and I want to talk about a couple things. Let's Jose.
Come on, Blazer.
It's a beef for me.
Wow, 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 wow. For your guy, for your B-O-Y. Drop it for your guy, for your B-O-Y. Do it for your guy, for your B-O-Y. Come on, baby, we live.
What's up, guys? It's your girl Voodoo Doll TV back with another Jose, and this time it's in a somber situation. Unfortunately, rapper Gillie the Kid's son was just recently unalived. He was involved in a triple homicide, attempted homicide, because I believe he's the only one who passed, and we're going to get into that. But I wanted to go over what's going on or what has happened, and then I also wanted to talk about a couple other things, right? So just getting started, the son of Gillie the Kid, who's a popular hip-hop artist and entertainment mogul, and he does the whole podcast thing. He was unalived Thursday night in the Olney section of Philadelphia, according to police, leading to an outpouring of grief from many who knew him and his father, as well as outrage over the city's ongoing gun violence crisis. David Spady, also known as YNG Cheese, was hit in the back just before 8:30 p.m. when shots were fired on the 5800 block of North Master Street. Officers responding to the scene found the 25-year-old unresponsive and rushed him to Einstein Medical Center, where he lately unalived shortly after arrival. Around the corner, police also found a 28-year-old man who was hit twice in the leg and drove him to Einstein. A third victim, a 31-year-old, was hit in the hip, arrived at the hospital in a private car, police said. Both are in stable conditions. Videos from the scene show that the group of men were having a conversation on the corner of West Nedrow Avenue and North Master Street when they heard the shots and start running, said Deputy Police Commissioner Frank Van Orr. At least 10 shots were fired, he said. Van Orr said he wasn't sure whether the shots were fired by someone in the group or from farther down the block. The motive remains unclear and no weapon has been recovered and no arrests have been made, Van Orr said. Spady was the father to a young son, according to social media, and he was following in his father's footsteps, pursuing a career in music. Police said he was living in Wyncote, just over the city line of Montgomery County. His father, born Nasib Fard, rose to fame in the late 90s as a founding member of the hip-hop group Major Figures from the Erie Avenue section of North Philadelphia. He went by Gillie the Kid at the time, but now goes by Gillie the King. Gillie hosts $1 Million Worth of Game, a weekly podcast with his cousin and social media influencer Wallow, aka Wallace Peoples, who was also a member of Major Figures. The show is the top music podcast on Apple Podcasts, which averaged 1 million views. They've grown massive followings for their discussions on relationships, music, comedy, black life, and culture, and host stars like Shaquille O'Neal, Michael B. Jordan, LL Cool J, Alicia Keys, and Kevin Hart. They often use their platforms to share candid advice to young black men about business, successful lives, despite society roadblocks, something they endured themselves growing up in North Philly. As much as Wallow and Gillie do for the community in Philadelphia, as much as they pour into these young brothers and try to stray them away from unaliving each other and gun violence, to have his son be a victim of gun violence is tragic and a reminder that life indeed is not fair, said Leonard McKelvey, aka Charlemagne the God. Spady was one of 236 homicides recorded in the city this year through Thursday, according to police statistics. That's a 23% decrease compared to last year's pace, but still a much higher pace than the years before 2020, when gun violence crisis began to reach record levels. Another 800 people have been hit but survived this year. Police data shows a 22% drop compared to last year, but well above the pace typically recorded in years before 2020. Now, that article I just read to you guys is from Crime and Justice. It's a, Philadelphia Inquirer type of thing, and they just had a nice little write-up on it, and I wanted to share that with you guys. I find it very tragic that the youth today are being buried at record numbers, typically by the hands of themselves. And I think that it's so unfair that this is going on, but it's honestly our reality. I want to play you guys the news clip of what was said about this incident, and I'll come right back with a little more commentary.
Developing right now, a triple shooting in Olney kills one person and sends two other people to the hospital. CBS News Philadelphia reporter Ross DeMattei is live for us this morning at police headquarters with the very latest. Ross.
Hey, Jen. Yeah, we know that 3 people were shot, and one of them, a 25-year-old man, was killed. And Philadelphia police believe that that victim is the son of famous Philadelphia rapper turned podcaster Gillie the King, but they are still trying to confirm that at this hour of the morning. The shooting took place shortly before 8:30 last night, just right near the intersection of Masher Street and Nedrow Ave in Philadelphia's Olney section. And when police got there, they found 2 shooting victims about a block away from there. One man had been shot in the back and another man shot in the leg. Police took those 2 to Einstein Hospital, and they say a 3rd shooting victim showed up there on their own. The 25-year-old who was shot in the back was pronounced dead at 8:39 p.m. The other 2 victims, a 28-year-old and a 31-year-old, were both shot in the leg. They're both in stable condition, expected to be okay. Police are still trying to track down who shot these 3 men and why.
We don't have a description of it, nor do we have a motive for this triple homicide. We did find some private surveillance cameras in the neighborhood, so hopefully these cameras recorded something that could help us with this triple shooting homicide investigation.
Now, I mentioned that the 25-year-old victim, who may be the son of famous Philadelphia rapper Gillie the King, police were told by many people at the scene that that is in fact the case, but police are still trying to confirm that. We can confirm that Gillie's son, who is also a rapper and goes by the name YNG Cheese, did last night, and that's based on a number of social media posts like this one. Gillie's cousin and podcast partner Wallow posting on Instagram, quote, "Lil Cuz, usually when I talk to you, I got a lot to tell you. Tonight the pain in my heart and tears spoke to you. I love you beyond life, Cheese. I got your father. Rest well." Now, we haven't heard from Gillie himself yet, and understandably so, given the whole situation, but he is scheduled to host Gillie Fest next Saturday night, which is a comedy show and concert combination. No word on whether or not that show will go on as scheduled. Jim and Jan, back to you guys.
Ross, thanks. We know you'll keep us up to date. Appreciate it.
So now you guys heard that clip of the news and what they were saying as far as like the investigation. And I know that was the night that it happened. I want to say it happened last night. And as of now, there are no updates as far as like perpetrators or anybody who would commit this crime, right? I found it really funny when I was listening to this clip that they have absolutely no leads, like none. That was kind of crazy to me, because one thing I do know as somebody from the hood, somebody who's grew up in the hood, what I do know is the streets know. The streets absolutely knows what's going on. And I hate that we have this silly no snitch culture where it's like a snitching thing if you actually say what you saw, if you had nothing to do with the crime. Like, we are like normalized to not say something when we see something, which is why the violence continues to be a cycle, a repeating cycle on and on and on, because nobody says anything. Everybody's keeping quiet, minding their business, and they don't want anything to come back on them. As a culture, this is gonna single-handedly take us out, this right here. But I went through his Instagram, and that's the video you're seeing in some of the pictures, and I wanted to see the type of person he was. Now granted, I know you cannot tell who a person is by looking at them, but it can tell you somewhat of a story about this person. And what to me I didn't understand was his dad has just signed like this $100 million contract, and I know he's an adult, you can't tell him what to do, but I didn't understand why Gillie didn't grab his son and take him out of this environment. Like, he knows how horrible and destructive the rap game is. Even if he took him under his wing, you know what I mean, and said, hey, you know, I want to make sure that you don't go this way because this is a horrible way to go. This is the end results of that. I just didn't kind of get that feeling from this. And you know what sucks the most is Gillie literally had just did a video denouncing violence in the neighborhoods and also the harm to women and children. So the fact that this comes to his doorstep right after that is kind of eerie. It's kind of eerie. And I'm going to touch on something else after this, but I want y'all to hear Gillie saying what he has to say about the violence and how he feels like it's insane that there's no morals and no standards and no values in the hood, as if there were ever honor amongst these. But let me let you hear Gillie, and I'll come right back with some more commentary.
Philly, we looking real sad out here, Philly. 8 shot out southwest, 4 dead, 2 kids shot somebody grandma. When the kids and grandmoms been on the menu, man? When has grandmoms and kids been on the menu, man? It was a time you seen it, you was beefing with it, you seen him with his kids, you gave him a pay. Ooh, you lucky you with your kids. Because you didn't even want that type of karma on you because the kids ain't had nothing to do with this. Now y'all can see it. He riding down the street, he with his grandma, his aunt. Y'all shoot the whole car up, try to shoot milk of magnesia out his grandma like she had something to do with that shit, man. And you is not even beefing over no money. You mean to tell me you willing to go to jail, sit in jail for 1,000 years for shooting that you didn't even mean to shoot? And it ain't even about no money. Come on, man. We got to get back to the old Philly, man, where was into getting money, man. Was into getting bitches, was into being fly, and didn't want no trouble. We'll shoot till you catch on fire, but we don't want no trouble. We trying to get money, man. We got to get back to that, man. You out here shooting about Instagram captions. You said you was going to spend. You ain't spend yet. All right, we spending the day. Man, y'all tripping out here, man. Keep kids and grandmoms off the menu, man.
Once again, my condolences to Gillie. I do not know what it feels like to lose a child, nor would I ever want to. I pray to God that I never have that feeling, but I just feel so bad for him because you can tell that he has somewhat of a heart for the community, even though I feel like he capitalizes off the community, and we're going to get into that just in a second, but you can tell that he does have a heart for the community, but ultimately, the way violence works, you never know when it's your turn, especially when you live in those neighborhoods, which is why I didn't understand why he wouldn't, like literally grab his son. If you had those type of resources, you could put him in an actual good studio, get him away from the hood. But and it's hard. I get it as a father because these kids feel like being in the mix of the BS is worth more than anything. Like clout is the new currency. I've been saying this to any and everybody who listen. Clout is the new currency, and I hate that. It's literally going to single-handedly get us to annihilate each other. And that's so unfortunate. So, like, again, my condolences go out to Gillie and, and his family and everybody involved. Because I would hate to have to go through this and relive that because I've lost people close to me. Now, I did want to touch on Gillie and Wallo signing their contracts, right? So if you guys don't know, Gillie and Wallo's podcast, $1 Million Worth of Game, is partnered with Barstool. Barstool is this random sports, I don't know if they're a podcast commentator. I don't know if they invest in the teams. I'm not even sure what they are, but they popped up out of nowhere during the pandemic. I'll never forget it. And these guys have been like, I don't know if they've been catapulted to the top or maybe they are the top. Maybe they're set there just for stuff like this. But ultimately, these guys are all the way at the top and they partnered with Gillie and Wallo on $1 Million Worth of Game to get this doggone podcast going, right? So at first, it was just them selling the new Amsterdam vodka, which is the most egregious drink to put into your mouth. Oh my God. If you're going to drink, please, Amsterdam. And I'm not trying to hate it. Golly, that stuff is like horrible. I used to drink it back in the day, so I know. But I'm getting off topic. They partnered with these people and they signed a $100 million contract. Now, I know everybody is sitting here saying, hey, it's too soon. This stuff just happened. But I've noticed something that every time somebody in our community makes it that big, someone around them loses. Someone around them is unalive. And it's not a coincidence. I know a lot of people don't want to believe that there are evils going on in this world. But I always tell people, you cannot literally believe in God and not the devils. You just can't. It's impossible. So Gillie and Wallo signed their contract with Barstools back in October of 2022. If you can look at this video, you can see Wallo going through the paperwork, signing. He's very eager to sign. And one thing I noticed on Wallo's face is it looks like tears of joy, but there's also a sense of hesitation. I mean, if you look at the video right now as I'm showing it to you, Wallo's all ready to go. Gillie's crying and it looks like tears of joy, and it definitely could be. But what I'm picking up is a man who's happy and also a man who's looking at something that's going to change his life and knows that everything's not going to always be for the great. Every single celebrity every single celebrity that's either made it famous or has had a big, large sum of money dropped into their pockets have had someone around them close to them that passes away. There's no coincidence in that. And I don't want you guys to think that this is some conspiracy theory, but you just have to use your eyes. Your eyes are telling you everything you need to know. Use your eyes and let your brain compute it and figure out what's actually going on in this industry. These people who look like you and I are not getting this stuff just because they're talented. If people in the powers that be really cared about us and making us, a better people, then why are only the entertainers the ones getting these breaks? We saw Kanye West become a billionaire and it taken from him in a matter of 48 hours. We see all these entertainers, and when I say entertainers, I mean sports people too, because they are entertainers just like your musicians, athletes, everybody that you turn on your screen and watch, or you upload, or you look at on Twitter and Instagram. All of these people are puppets and entertainers. And the sad side of that is everything comes with a price. Nothing is free. Nothing is free. It's just what it is. So I'm hoping that wasn't the case in this, but for them to just sign this huge contract, like they're like now the highest paid, black podcast, ever. Surpassing Charlamagne the God in the Breakfast Club, surpassing Joe Budden, but for his own reasons, because he wouldn't fold and give into a system. And all these other people that you see that have been working tirelessly, in this spectrum. I just find it funny. Like, why them? Why are they the ones that are chosen to get $100 million? And, just to be a podcast. Now, they say they own their stuff lock, stock, and barrel. I believe it. I don't believe that, they're like selling any portion of their companies. But ultimately, what actually are they selling? What are they selling? I don't know. It's just weird to me, y'all. I look at life and I think of life completely different. I know I do the podcast where I'm talking about gossip and I'm talking about this, but there's a much deeper side of my thought process and the way that I internalize and view things in the world. And I see there's a bigger picture behind every single thing. It's not just as cut and dry and black and white as we think it is. These people are put in place for purposes, and the purposes are to entertain us, but entertain us to get our minds off what we actually need to be doing. Get our minds off of what we are and who we are as a people. I don't know. I want to play this clip for you guys. This is a clip from Charlamagne the God, DJ Envy, Gillie, and Wallow. I guess they went to $1 Million Worth of Game for an interview. And Wallow asked Charlamagne and Envy, how was it making to the next level? Because they were discussing going to the next level and going through doors. And Wallow asked Charlamagne and Envy what it was like going through their doors or going to the next level. Let me let y'all listen to this clip and I'll come right back for more commentary.
The next level.
The people, man.
What's the next level?
When your career is at that level, and then you get a visit to go to the next level.
You talking Illuminati?
I ain't say no names.
We ain't supposed to speak about that, Wallow.
Yeah, we don't speak about that shit.
Wallow, you know we ain't supposed to. That's why I'm sweating here.
I ain't even gonna say that because I might get called in for that. I'm just
shit. You already got called in.
You already got called in, nigga. It's just like that.
Don't lie. You already got called in.
I will say this though. Let me ask you a question, Sean.
Yes, sir.
You and Envy. How was it when y'all got that visit from the next level?
What's the next level?
The people, man.
What's the next level?
When your career is at that level, and then you get a visit to go to the next level.
You talking Illuminati?
I ain't say no names.
We ain't supposed to speak about that, Wallow.
Yeah, we don't speak about that shit.
Wallow, you know we ain't supposed to. That's why I'm sweating here.
I ain't even gonna say that because I might get called in for that. I'm just
shit. You already got called in.
You already got called in, nigga. It's just like that.
Don't lie. You already got called in.
I will say this.
So now you guys just heard that clip of Wallow asking them about going through the door or getting their next level, and they laughingly joke about it. And Charlamagne was like, you've got your call. You've already had that meeting as well. I want us to pay attention to the stuff that they are putting in plain sight. What's in plain sight is what we're missing. And I don't understand. Well, I understand because we're too programmed and indoctrinated with a whole bunch of stuff that if it doesn't fit our narratives or if it doesn't fit what our brain already thinks, everybody just automatically shuts it off. But these people are literally telling you what they're doing in our faces. Like, they're telling you, but they're counting on us being so ignorant and not paying attention to just automatically shun it away and have somebody just call it a conspiracy theory. You know what I mean? Because that's typically, especially in the Black community, that's what we do. We denounce everything that's not the church. You know what I mean? But I keep telling people who are very religious, if you believe in the church, you have to believe in the opposite. If you believe in God, you have to believe there's an opposite. If you believe in heaven, you have to believe there's a hell. You know what I mean? And from the looks of it, it looks as if it's just a coincidence, which I don't believe in coincidences, that he signed this deal in October and here we are in July and this has happened. Again, rest in peace to this young man. I don't know what he was into. According to his Instagram, it looks like he was into the rap thing, but it's hard these days to separate the game from the rap or the streets from the rap, because now the people are doing everything together. You know what I mean? It's like before the rappers rapped about stuff that they didn't do and made it seem cool, but now these rappers are rapping about stuff that they did do. So, you know, it's just hard. I don't know if he was out there like that. He was a 25-year-old father. I'm hoping that wasn't the case. Maybe wrong place, wrong time. But according to what I'm looking at or what I've seen on his Instagram page, it seems like he participated in that lifestyle. Again, not saying that that's his fault, but that's just our reality in 2023 for our young people. That's just what it is. I recently just lost my nephew to gun violence. So I know exactly how it feels. But part of being a grown-up is taking accountability and responsibility and understanding the truth without feeling like you're being attacked. And the truth of the matter is my nephew associated with the streets. And unfortunately, it left him where we see this young man at. And it's unfortunate. I wish things were different for him. I wish things were different for my nephew. I wish things were different for a lot of the young people in, you know, this culture. But this culture is literally sucking us dry. It's literally sucking everything away from us. Our kids, our families, our everything. It's sucking us dry. And I don't think we even realize it because we're too busy being entertained. So this is kind of a twofold thing, you know what I mean? And on one hand, I recognize that the industry is very dark and very satanic. And I understand that sometimes, or a lot of times, you don't get something for nothing. If you get money, you're going to lose something. So I understand that aspect, but then I also understand the impact that it's had on our youth and the lifestyle that they're choosing due to that very industry. That's just the facts. And it's unfortunate for this young man. He was a father. You know, he had a lot going for himself getting into the rap game. And I just feel bad for him and the family. Another quote unquote coincidence, because once again, I don't believe in coincidences, is that Wallow put out this message recently, basically talking about his nephew, and it says, "Lil' cuz, usually when I talk to you, I got a lot to tell you. Tonight, the pain in my heart and tears spoke to you. I love you beyond life, Cheese. I got your father. Rest well." Now, on the onset, that looks like a regular message that an uncle would send to, or a cousin would send to a cousin, or an uncle to a nephew. You know what I mean? And it's just like, hey, there's nothing here to see. What's the big deal? But when we get into the evils and the woes of the world, and particularly the music industry, we see our people literally losing everything. Lives, money, cars, clothes. It's all controlled by a particular group of people who control this industry and literally does not allow us to have any control over anything. They always have to have those strings. And I find it funny that Wallow posts a message. Gillie hasn't said anything, likely as he shouldn't, because this is probably all brand new to him. But Wallow said something, and he was the one who was eager to sign this contract and not Gillie. Let's take a look at what Nori had to say about the doors, because Nori explained the doors very, very well. And I want y'all to hear this, and I'm going to come back with a final commentary.
In a show, I've been there. There's a door that you could walk in. I'm not sure if it's or if it's the Illuminati. I just didn't take that door. I went straight. There's 3 different doors, right? There's 3 different ways to walk. There's to the left, there's to the right, and then there's straight. Straight is you're on your own. Let's see if you continue this success, young man. Let's see if it's all about your skills, young man. Let's really see that. And you went straight. To the right, I'm not sure if that's right there. And then there's to the left, I'm not sure if there's some sacrifice going on right there. I'm not sure because I went straight. In the show, I've been there. There's a door.
Paperwork.
Me neither.
And we own everything. And we own everything.
Don't worry.
I'm just saying, you see what we walked away from.
You see what we walked away from.
Word up.
And
that was
contract.
That was
and
close
what we
to
said,
the
what?
shit.
We said, what? We said, what?
You know what's crazy? I heard that from a white person before I heard that from Gillie and
We
Wallow.
said, what?
Heard what?
That same thing. I heard it, me and an agent was talking.
No, okay.
And they was telling me what y'all was walking away from. They
Wait,
told me.
say what that number was.
No, I ain't doing that. I ain't doing that. But Gillie and Wallow are doing very well.
They're doing okay out
Play
there.
with us, nigga. Don't
I love it, man.
Nigga.
To the right, I'm not sure if that's the whole shit right there. And then there's to the left, I'm not sure if there's some sacrifice going on right there. And then there's to the left, I'm not sure if there's some sacrifice going on right there. I'm not sure because I went straight.
I heard it, me and an agent was talking.
No, okay.
And they was telling me what y'all was walking away from. They told me.
Say what that number was.
No, I ain't doing that.
So as you can see, Gillie and Wallow were offered, according to him, like an NBA contract as far as numbers. And they walked away from it originally. And that's the going straight that I believe Nori was speaking about when he said you can either go straight and then we'll just see if you make it on your own. Or there's the left door and the right door. I'm of the belief that with this situation, it could be possible. It could be possible that Gillie and Wallow went through one of the doors. I'm not sure. It's just how I feel about it, and it's from what I understand and have studied about the industry. I know from not just myself, multiple people, that this is an option, and these are doors that are offered to every single person that comes through the industry, which is why you'll have some people who do really, really well and some people who does not do well at all. Anyway, again, rest in peace to YNG Cheese. My condolences to the family. Y'all drop down in the comments and let me know what y'all think about this situation. What do you feel? What are your thoughts? Please don't forget to like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell, follow me on TikTok, and I'll see y'all later. Bye.
Mr. Carroll, how you give the voodoo dog time to talk? I don't get no fucking time to talk.
Who the voodoo doll is?
The nigga you just had up here.